Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today's video is going to be on my favorite powdery fragrances. So I've had a lot of people ask if I could review Valeninto Poudre, and I thought that I would just do a video about all of my favorite powdery fragrances together. So if you love powdery fragrances as much as I do, or you're interested in any of the fragrances listed below, then stay tuned. Also, if you're enjoying my content, please make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right on into today's video. Okay guys, so as you can see here, I just pulled out 5 of my most favorite powdery fragrances. All of these fragrances are very, very different, but they have one thing in common, which is that all of them are powdery on some level, whether it is like a iris kind of a powder, like a floral powder, or whether it's like a confectionery sugary kind of a powder. Some of them smell a little bit more like makeup, other ones have more of a musky smell. So we're just going to go through all of them, and I'll kind of tell you the differences between them, which ones are my favorite, which ones are the longest lasting, and yeah, just talk about them in general. So let's start off with Valeninto Poudre, because this is the one that a lot of people have been interested in, and this is one of my favorites. Also, please excuse my nails. I'm working night shifts and I'm not allowed to wear nail polish to work, so my nails are looking a little bit worse for wear today. So Valeninto Poudre is a powdery vanilla fragrance. It also has a little bit of floral notes in here, and it has a little bit of sandalwood. Think of a makeup compact. It's that kind of a powderiness. Also vanilla, iris, sandalwood, tonka bean, tuberose, and it also has something called ambrette musk, which is kind of a sweet, musky fragrance. I absolutely love this, you guys. The bottle is absolutely exquisite, and it's gonna sound kind of silly, but it smells pretty much how it looks. It smells very powdery and light and blushing and kind of muted is how it smells, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So this perfume, you guys, lasts me actually for a pretty long time on my skin. I would say I get probably a good 3 to 4 hours on my skin, which for me is very good. A lot of perfumes don't last that long on my skin, and on clothing, you guys, on clothing, this lasts for a long time. I really like that I can wear this in the evening, and 2 or 3 days later I can come back and I can still smell it on my sweater very strongly, as if I had just sprayed it. So I really do love the Valeninto Poudre. Next, let's move on to Prada Candy, because this one is very similar to the Poudre. It has that sort of makeup compact powderiness, except this one doesn't have any floral notes. This one doesn't have sandalwood. It's a very non-complex, fairly linear fragrance. So the top notes that you get in here is caramel, powdery notes, vanilla, and then there is some musk and some benzoin in the base. What I get the most out of this is caramel, vanilla, and powder. This is straight up like a lipstick, but it's a caramel powder lipstick. It literally smells to me as if you opened a fresh makeup compact and you're about to apply it onto your face, but your makeup has this caramel and vanilla kind of very subtle powdery smell to it. That's what it smells like, and I absolutely love that. A lot of people have recommended that I try Replica lipstick on. I actually have a decant of Replica lipstick on, and I really do love it. Unfortunately, that one is discontinued, but these ones are very similar. This one and Lipstick On have a very similar vibe. They're both in the same family. Lipstick On has much better performance, way better performance, and it's also a little bit more complex and it changes a little bit more. This one, unfortunately, does not have the sillage or the lasting power, which makes me very sad because I love it. I think if this had a better performance, it would be probably one of my signature scents. Like, I would wear this all the time because I just think it smells so classy and so pretty and so feminine and just like makeup, really. Oh my gosh, I just love it, you guys. It's so pretty. Absolutely gorgeous. I haven't worn much of it, but I have so many perfumes that it's just hard for me to get through everything. But I am going to make a point of wearing this more often, and I think I'm just going to go heavy on it. Let's talk about one of my favorite perfumes of all time. This is Narciso Poudre by Narciso Rodriguez. I think a lot of you have actually blind purchased this because of me, and I know most people have given me very good feedback. This is a really hard perfume not to like, actually. And the interesting thing about this perfume in comparison to all of the other ones is that this one doesn't have any powder or iris notes. I don't know how they get it to smell so gorgeous and so powdery, but what you have in here is musk, jasmine, tonka bean, rose, orange blossom, and then you have a lot of woody, earthy notes. You've got vetiver, cedar, and patchouli. I definitely get a lot of the cedar in here. It definitely does have a bit of a woody kind of an undertone. And then just that combination of that earthy kind of green vetiver, which is very subtle in here, by the way, and like a hint of patchouli. I really don't get much patchouli in here at all. Combined with the musk and the tonka bean, it is just, it's so beautiful. This smells just kind of like an elevated, almost a baby powder kind of a vibe, like very soft, kind of a make-upy baby powder musk. Very, very musky. I absolutely love Narciso because Narciso does musk in a way that everybody seems to like. It just wears so well on the skin. The Narcisos that I'm not 100% crazy about, I still like them, but they're not my favorite, is the Narciso Eau de Toilette and Eau de Parfum, the one in the black and the pink bottles. I really like them, but they're not my favorite Narciso. My favorite Narcisos are these kind of more powdery, sweet tonka bean fragrances. Yeah, so this one, you guys, has huge performance. This one I would say is on par with the Valeninto Poudre. This one will project very, very well. It will last in your clothing. If you spray it on your winter jacket or a cashmere sweater or your pajamas or whatever. I like to wear this in the evening a lot, as you can tell. But you will be able to smell this quite strongly all throughout the evening. And it just has this gorgeous, feminine, soft, musky, sweet quality about it, and it's so pretty, and I know that people around me appreciate it and enjoy it. It's just totally inoffensive, just smells really comforting, and it's beautiful. If you have not tried Narciso Poudre, definitely try it. I've told people before, this is one that I sprayed on my hand. I drove all the way home and I could still smell it, and I was just in love, and I was just kicking myself for not purchasing this. So now let's move on to Insolence from Guerlain. This is the Eau de Toilette. I'm sure you guys have seen this all over YouTube. It's pretty hard not to. I believe that most of us purchased this. Maybe I don't speak for everyone, but I believe most of us ended up purchasing this based on the review of Gabriella Francesca. If you guys have not checked her out, definitely go check her out. She was one of the very first people I saw doing a perfume blind buy video. But the way she described this one as being like having a bath from fairies in a forest. Okay, I have to know what it smells like to have a bath from a fairy in a forest. But this is a very sweet, sort of a powdery fragrance. This one, again, does not have any powdery notes. The powderiness in here comes from iris. So you only have 4 notes in here. It is a very non-complex, very simple fragrance, but it's absolutely beautiful. So you have violet, iris, red berries, and orange blossom. A lot of people have described this as being the quote-unquote candied violet fragrance. And yes, that's exactly what it smells like. It smells like red berries and sugar and violets dusted in a light coat of confectionery powder. It's like a little bit more of a gentle, dusky, subdued kind of a powder. The scent is exactly like the bottle looks. It smells frosted, it smells whimsical, it smells pink, it smells beautiful, it smells unique, it smells a little vintage. It's really hard to explain. And I'll be very honest, this is not one I wear a lot at all. I love to smell it, I love to hold it, I love to look at it, but I don't wear it very much because it doesn't fit in with my lifestyle. It's a nice bedtime scent because it's very comforting and powdery and just kind of vintage smelling. But mostly I honestly just appreciate it for the uniqueness of the bottle and of the scent. I just like to have it for those purposes. Even though I don't wear it, it's one that I love having in my collection, and the bottle is absolutely beautiful. If you didn't like the scent, you could at least appreciate the bottle. So definitely a little bit more mature. And lastly, we have Chanel No. 5. Now this is actually a very powdery fragrance. Although it is more aldehydic than it is powdery, it's a very strong fragrance. Chanel No. 5 came out in the early 1920s. And it was always a very strong, kind of a potent perfume. But this one is definitely a little bit different and a little bit more modernized compared to the original Chanel No. 5 that came out. If you're the right person in the right circumstances, this can smell absolutely beautiful on people, but this definitely isn't a super popular perfume these days, especially among the younger crowd. However, I think it remains one of the best-selling perfumes of all time. So Chanel No. 5 is a very strong, kind of a pungent, aldehydic fragrance. If you guys don't know what aldehydes smell like, it's sort of a strange, ozonic, airy, sort of a crisp note. It's very hard to explain. It's just kind of bizarre and ozonic and airy and crisp. It has like a very crisp quality to it. There's also ylang ylang, sandalwood, rose, vanilla, jasmine, bergamot. There's a ton of notes in here. There's also a base of some woody notes. There's oak moss, there's patchouli, there's a little bit of peach, which I don't get a whole lot of peach in here. And the powderiness in this perfume comes from, again, iris. 1 or 2 sprays of this is more than enough, and it will last for a very long time and project really, really well. Yeah, I don't know, this is really beautiful. It does have that kind of crisp vintage vibe for sure. But it also has this really soft, gorgeous, comforting, familiar, powdery vibe about it. You've smelt it before on someone somewhere. I really like it. It can be a little polarizing. I think people either love it or they hate it. This one is not particularly sweet. It's not very make-upy. It's not very mainstream. Although I do like to wear this to bed. I do like to spray it on myself and wear it to bed. I feel like it's part of my pampering routine. So very strong, very woody, very aldehydic, not overly sweet, but definitely has that kind of powdery, soft quality about it. So which one is my favorite out of these 5 fragrances? I have to say that my favorite would be the Narciso. This one has been in my collection for the longest, and this was actually my signature scent at one point. After that, I would have to say it's the Valentina. After that, I would say it is the Prada. And then I'm kind of tied between the Insolence and the Chanel. And I love both the Insolence and the Chanel. I appreciate them both for different reasons. Guerlain and Chanel have been around for the longest out of all of these brands, all of these perfume houses, and they all have this beautiful story. If you want some good reading or something really interesting, look up the history of Guerlain fragrances and Chanel fragrances, because they all have a very interesting story, and they're just really special perfume houses. So yeah, that is all I have to say today, you guys, about my powdery scents. Let me know in the comments below if you have any of these, if you have a different powdery scent that I didn't mention, what your favorite powdery fragrance is. So that is it for today's video, you guys. I apologize for the raspiness of my voice. I'm working night shifts and it always just takes all of my energy away. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, head on over and follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, and I will see you guys all next time.